He never went near the baby during mealtimes. That was the rule, and he had followed it for 7 months without exception. The morning he broke it was the morning they finally understood why. Nero was a 5-year-old Rottweiler who had been in the Oduya household since before the word household applied, since the apartment, since the first house, since the move and the second house, since Tomas arrived and the configuration of everything shifted. Tomas was 7 months old and at the stage of mealtimes where food ended up approximately equidistant between his mouth and every nearby surface. Nero had been trained away from the high chair from Tomas's first day in it. He knew the boundary. He held it with the compliance of an animal that had accepted this particular rule as final. Marcus Oduya had been type 1 diabetic since he was 12. He was 38 now and managed his condition with the calibrated precision of someone who had been living inside it for 26 years. He had a continuous glucose monitor on his upper arm. He had a protocol. He had learned to read his own body's signals with the fluency of long familiarity. The morning it happened, he had not slept well. He had woken twice in the night, once for Tomas, once for what he thought was nothing, and had eaten a late snack at 2 a.m. to address a CGM alarm that had since resolved. By morning he felt fine. The CGM read 88, normal. He made Tomas's breakfast. He put him in the high chair. He put the pureed sweet potato in front of him and watched the familiar launch sequence begin. Nero came from his bed in the corner of the living room, walked past the kitchen island, and positioned himself directly behind Marcus's chair. Marcus said his name. Nero did not move. He said it again, the command version. Nero looked at him, then looked at the floor beside Marcus's feet, then sat down. He was not looking at the food. He was not looking at the baby. He was looking at the floor 8 inches from Marcus's left foot. Marcus said, "Nero, off." Nero stood, moved 6 inches to the left, and sat down again in approximately the same position, now against the base of the kitchen island, still beside Marcus, still looking at the floor near his feet. His wife Adez came into the kitchen and saw Nero's position. She frowned. "He never does that," she said. "I know," Marcus said. "He's not looking at the food," Adez said. Marcus looked down at Nero. Then he looked at his CGM. The CGM read 72. He had been at 88 20 minutes ago. 72 was the lower edge of his acceptable range. Not alarming on its own, but the direction of travel from 88 to 72 in 20 minutes at rest, without activity or additional insulin, was a vector. He ate a glucose tablet. He sat and watched the number. Within 8 minutes, the CGM read 65. He ate 2 more tablets, a glass of juice. He called his endocrinologist's line. He sat at the kitchen table while Tomas continued distributing sweet potato across a 3-foot radius, and Nero stayed at his left side for the next 40 minutes, without moving from that position. The CGM leveled at 68 and then began to climb. Subscribe now, because what Marcus's endocrinologist said about the morning and about Nero's behavior confirmed something that has since changed how this family manages a condition that had been carefully managed for 26 years. Dr. Esther Munoz had been Marcus's endocrinologist for 9 years. When he described the morning, She asked about Nero's history with his blood sugar. He hadn't been paying attention to it. He thought back. He thought about the 2 or 3 times in the past year when Nero had come to stand near him without obvious reason, and the times he had checked his CGM afterward, and whether there was a pattern. There was a pattern. He hadn't filed it correctly. Dr. Munoz said, "There is substantial research on dogs detecting hypoglycemic drops through metabolic breath compounds, isoprene, acetone, ketones. The specific signature shifts as glucose drops and the compounds enter exhaled air. Nero has 26 years of your baseline. He knows what your breath smells like at 88. He knew this morning that something was different." She paused. "Your CGM caught the 72. Nero may have caught it closer to 88, before the device gave you any indication. That's the window that matters. Has a pet ever stayed close to you during something your body was doing before you registered it yourself? Tell us in the comments. These stories deserve to be heard." Marcus and Adese talked about it that evening after Tomas was asleep. About 26 years of a condition carefully managed. About the CGM, which was good technology and had served him well. About the space between 88 and the first alarm, which Nero had apparently been occupying that morning with his body on the kitchen floor. They looked at Nero, who was in his corner, asleep, chin on his paws. Adese said, "He's been doing this for a while, and we just called it strange." "Yes," Marcus said. He looked at Tomas's high chair tray, still filmed with sweet potato no one had wiped yet. He said, "We're going to start paying attention. Every guardian deserves to be recognized, even the ones who never asked for anything in return." If stories like this matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one. Nero is not a trained diabetic alert dog. He has no certification. He has no protocol. He has 26 years of one man's chemistry, living in the same rooms he lives in, walking past him every morning, sitting within 10 feet of him every evening. And somewhere in that duration, he learned to read a number that is written in breath and not visible on any screen until after he has already moved to the floor, beside the left foot where it is most clearly arriving. Next, the German shepherd who stopped eating from his bowl and started leaving it in front of the nursery door every night for 2 weeks.